everybody, this is Alex from Two Hearts Crochet. Today I'm going to be showing you how I'm working the single crochet border around each of my squares for the Hoovian cowl. This will work also for the Harry Potter cowl that will be coming January 1st. So I'm showing you on this square here. This is my Dalek square. He's not done yet. I still have all of the ends to weave in. As you can see, they're hidden on the back side there. So I'm just going to show you on this square because it's easier to see the yarn on the white square than on, say, the sapphire or the cranberry squares. Those colors are a bit darker, so they're a little bit harder to see the stitches on. So if we had just finished this square, we would have ended up here, this block here in the upper left-hand corner. We would have done the 3 double crochets, 1, 2, 3, and ended up with our yarn right here. You can see my yarn's up here, and I did that. I slip stitched all the way up the side there, just to bring that yarn into the corner there. At the time I didn't know how I was going to be doing my borders, so I just fastened off. But if you're starting and you haven't finished your squares yet, or you haven't finished some of them yet, you can go ahead and keep going. We're going to be working, there's 2 borders. We're going to work the first one in the background color for your square. So for this square, it's going to be white. For the Cyberman square, it's going to be cranberry. For the Doctor squares, they're going to be sapphire. And the secondary border after that, we're going to do the same thing again, but we're going to do a white border around each square, so that all the squares will have a border in their primary background color and a border after that in white. White is the color I'll be joining my squares with, which is why I'm doing it that way. Let's see here. So we have our tail end here. It's a really long tail, fastened off there. So if you didn't fasten off, you can just keep going. Otherwise, if you're like me and you already did, I'm going to go ahead and bring up a new loop of yarn here. Oops. Right there. There we go. And I'm going to chain 1. So now we're ready to go ahead and get started. Basically, we're going to be doing 3 single crochets for every block, for every side of the block that's on the border. So this corner side, or this corner block, has 2 sides, here and here. So it's going to get a total of 6. But we're starting on this side here. We're going to work all the way down the side. So we have this block here, the last block of our square, and you can see this space here. I'm going to call it the double crochet space because it's created from the chains that you do to start working your double crochets in your blocks. It creates this nice big gap here. And so what we're going to do is we're going to work 3 single crochet stitches into that gap right there. So we're going to go ahead and just do 1, 2, and there's a 3rd one there. And then we've done the border for 1 block. The next block has these slip stitches along the side here, and this is because when we decreased on here, we had to slip stitch back up the row to be able to start a new row. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and work 1 single crochet in each of the slip stitches there. 1, 2, and 3. And I know my slip stitches are pretty tight, probably a little too tight, but that's okay. There's 1. Here's the 2nd single crochet, and the 3rd one in that last slip stitch there. Like I said, they're pretty tight. There we go. And there's 3. So now we've got 1, 2, 3 single crochet stitches for that 2nd block there. This pattern repeats itself all the way down the block, or all the way down the square. As you go, you're working on the left-hand side of the square if you're looking at the square, crocheting counterclockwise around. What we're going to come across is a part of the blanket, part of the square, where we weren't decreasing, we were still increasing. And that's going to look a little bit different. Basically, it's instead of the slip stitches here, you're not going to have those because you weren't slip stitching for decreasing. Instead, if you look at the right hand side of the square, we've got the gap here, the double crochet gap, and then we've got our 3 double crochets from the next block up, and it's got these foundation stitches here, or what I'm going to call foundation stitches. And you're just going to work same thing, 3 single crochet stitches, 1, 2, and 3, 1 in each of those. So you're not doing them in any slip stitches because they're not there, but it's essentially the same idea. 3 in each of the stitches along here, and then 3 in the gap. So let's go ahead and keep going. We're back up here, working on the next block here. We've got another one of these double crochet gaps. So we're going to work 3 single crochet in that gap. And there's the 3rd block. And then again, we've got some slip stitches here. Again, they're really tight. There's 1, 2, and 3, 1 for each of those slip stitches. And what this border does is, by doing the first border in the background color for the yarn, it makes this transition between border and the blocks pretty much invisible. If you're looking really hard, you can see it. If you're really familiar with crochet, you'll be able to see it. But if you're making this blanket for a gift or someone, once you get it all put together, you won't even notice. And then after that, we're also going to do a secondary border around the entire thing, around each square. Like I said, it's going to be in white, so you won't see it as much in this square, but on any of the blue or red squares, you will see a difference. You'll have the blue or the red, and then you'll have an additional row of white all the way around. And basically what that lets us do is, I could crochet a white border around every square. And just leave it at that, not do a secondary border. But you have these stitches here in the slip stitches and in the double crochet gap for your border, and they're not even. The ones that are in the double crochet gaps there come down a little bit further into the square, into your work, and if I was crocheting with, say, blue against this white background, you would definitely be able to see that. It would kind of look jagged and give it a really uneven look. So by working the border in the background color and then doing a secondary border in the color I'm going to join with, that lets my stitches that you see, they look really even. You don't have that jagged edge kind of thing going on, which is what you don't want. Some people have asked if I do anything in the corners for the squares to help them lay flat. You can, if you want, work a couple stitches in the corner, a couple single crochet stitches there. If your tension's really tight, that might help you have a flatter corner. But if it's not, I haven't had any trouble with it. You might want to just go ahead and give it a try, see how it looks. And go from there. I won't be doing any extra stitches in here, but you certainly can if you feel you need to. Anyways, that's basically it. 3 in the double crochet gap, 3 in the slip stitches or the foundation stitches, and you do that all the way around, and then you do the same thing. You just single crochet 1 per stitch for the secondary border. Hopefully that helps everybody out. If you have any questions or anything, let me know. I'd be glad to help you out where I can. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.